डॉक्टर से कहा वेरी टेस्टी।
All right, guys. ये हम JHS chit chat हैं. ये Zabihah and Zerts हैं. और हम आज पौड़ी करेंगे. पौड़ी करेंगे हम सब साथ, right? Bring that up. So, we want to introduce you to Zabihah and Zerts. Uneeb from Zabihah and Zerts, who's got a great following on TikTok and Instagram. You're probably already following them if you're a foodie in our group. But if you're not, definitely check them out. So, Uneeb, thanks for joining, man, today. We wanted to have a nice discussion with you on halal spots, but Jersey specifically. So, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on here, man. I could talk about halal for hours.
Yeah, dude, you're doing an awesome job, man. We love your Instagram, and now your TikTok's really blowing up. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. Like, how did you get started, and then what's the latest on those platforms for you?
Sure. So, I got started because people would always ask me about halal food, right? And then I just wanted to be a little more organized. So I started a food page. And before I knew it, people that were asking for recommendations and basically, hey, here's a place you can go to. It gives you a list of halal restaurants. I have them organized by city and by state, which is really pleasing because you can just look at it and see which city this food is. You don't have to go in and look at it. You can just see it right off the page. Also have the highlights to let you know, hey, this is from this city or this country. I've been to over 35 countries. I've been to almost every state, and wherever I go, luckily my company has a company card, and I just go and get my halal food, and then I post about it.
Hopefully your company's not watching this, but
it's a per diem. I can do whatever I want with it. They don't care.
That's the thing that's awesome. That's the thing that's awesome about Zabihah and Zerts, right? We focus on Jersey, but you've been all over. Right.
I've been all over. I travel for work, so it gives me the benefit of trying food everywhere in the country and even outside the country.
Yeah, exactly.
I've noticed you've been coming to Jersey quite a bit as well. You got to share some of those spots with us, bro. You got to post it in the group.
I've been doing a lot of Jersey shopping because of COVID. It's hard to get around these days. But I did make a trip out to Alabama, which was surprising. But they even have halal food down there. We're everywhere.
Nice, dude. So how does Jersey compare to, when it comes to halal food in Jersey, how does that compare to the other sort of top spots for halal, right? Let's keep it in North America. Where would you say are some of the other great places for halal in North America?
So it's really hard to compare Jersey because, we take it for granted, right? And when people compare Jersey, they're comparing it to places like Toronto and Houston and Chicago, right? These places are top tier. They have like the best halal food. They're always pushing for it, right? And we're kind of just like right there in the middle. But if you look at all these other places in the country, like New Jersey I would say New Jersey is a state more about quantity, and it has quality, but is more focused on quantity, right? If New Jersey does a few things and they get a little caught up in it, right? We do Indian and Desi food, and then we do these like Middle Eastern food, and we're kind of just stuck in these two buckets, right? And the majority of our halal places are these two places. Whereas people like in Houston, they're experimenting. Detroit, Michigan, they're experimenting. They're having all these different types of burgers. They're having Mexican food. They're having fusion. So they're really experimenting with new types of stuff, whereas we're not experimenting as much. We're just kind of used to what we like. And that's because a lot of the people that come to New Jersey are like immigrants, right? They want to feel close to home as possible. They don't want to experiment outside the box. And that's how our parents were when they came here.
You're so right. I think you're on the point about that. But I think New Jersey's kind of changing because of the newer generation, right? We're pushing the limits. We're like, hey, we want better. Right, Nabil. Right. I mean, I'm sure you've mentioned this a lot of times, right? We need some new types of foods, etc.
Yeah, we've been seeing that lately. It's definitely been picking up, right? If you look at Manhattan used to be known as the spot for all of the best food. Now there's no good foods in Manhattan. They're all in Queens, they're Brooklyn, in Jersey. My webpage is called Zabihah and Zerts, right? And I focus more on the Zabihah part, right? Because I want people to know that like halal meat is the most cleanest meat that you could have. It's the most humane meat that you can have. So even if you are not Muslim, there's reasons why this should appeal to you, right? And what happens is people who eat only halal, they have a small list of places that you can eat. But when people who are Muslim that don't eat halal, don't support these places, this place it shrinks even more. So what I want is to bring more awareness so that people can say, hey, some of these halal restaurants are actually really good. You got like BK Johnny, that's been in the news, right? Namkeen's been in the news. The Korean barbecue places have been to do. There's these places that like, you know, have really, really good reviews. And then there's places that are very popular that we don't even know that they use Creekstone meat.
Yeah,
There's like,
absolutely. And I think the other topic on sort of the new restaurants that are coming in, as far as they're entrepreneurs, and that's one of the things that at Jersey Halal Spot we're trying to do is we're trying to promote those folks who are taking the risk, right? Because it takes a lot of risk to go out, open a restaurant.
especially during COVID.
Yeah, especially in COVID, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think this topic, this place comes up quite a bit, but Namkeen's been a great example of that, right? So they came out. What do you think of Namkeen with, you know, sort of bringing a new cuisine that has not been seen, at least in Jersey? I think there may be other places around the country that have halal Southern style fried chicken, but what was your take on Namkeen compared to the others?
I liked it a lot. I loved it. I like to stay with the medium hot because I got the hot, and let's just say I had a lot. I was crying. I had a lot of tears coming down
Oh
my eyes.
yeah.
And don't wipe your tears after you. So let's just say I had a hot mess of a day. But Namkeen's really, really good. I like their classic. I'm not a big fan of their tikka veal a little bit, but that's just like a personal taste.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Have,
there's
have you found anything like that or anywhere else?
yeah. So I've been to like Hot Days in LA, which I think is the original one where the first halal one lines out the door. So like I go to like Comic-Con and D23 and stuff like that. So when I go to these places, I definitely like to go and try halal places. And Days was one of the first places that I tried. And yeah, that place is amazing. How Namkeen compares to it, like, you know, I don't think that's fair because Namkeen's pretty new. I think Namkeen's pretty great.
Yeah.
But like, you know, that place is a little different. Their style is a little different. Namkeen's more like a burger, whereas that is a little more like country style. But you know, both are solid. Both are very solid.
Well, how does the hot compare a Dave versus the Namkeen hot? I mean, is a Dave hot
Well,
much hotter?
so I've been colonized, I like to say, where I can't handle hot food as much as I used to as a kid. So I tried the hot stuff and I can't handle it. I don't enjoy it. It was more like to prove that I could eat it.
Yeah.
I rather just have like the medium hot and just
Right.
enjoy it. I love it. It's the right level. So, you know, if you're talking about how spicy it is, I think I would say Namkeen's spicier.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hot for Namkeen. Yeah, I've
But,
tried
but,
the
the,
hot
but
and
the
the
thing is,
medium.
I would say Namkeen isn't consistent with the spice sometimes because I've gone days where the hot is super hot, and then I've gone days where the hot wasn't as hot. So
Right.
they're not as consistent. But I've definitely had it one day where it was super super hot.
Awesome. So the other thing that we wanted to discuss with you, Anib, I wanted to take your take on the fact that we see these new Pakistani restaurants popping up, you know, whether it be Chai Chanak or Gulberg or some of the other ones that are following, I think, the lead of some Pakistani restaurants in Toronto, right, and Houston, where entrepreneurs are actually trying to bring an experience, right, to the food. It's not just about like, right, when our parents came here in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was just about, hey, it could be hole in the wall, the food should be good, but really didn't care about the ambiance.
Right.
How do you think we're doing as far as that? Because, you know, we have some pretty amazing entrepreneurs bringing these new, not just restaurants, but experiences, right? In
Yeah.
New Jersey.
No, I think it's great. I think when, you know, our parents used to go to these restaurants, it was like a family restaurant where you would take a bunch of the kids, right? But now people are like, I want to go to a spot that's romantic. I need the aesthetics. I need the atmosphere. I need to take culture. Look
Right.
how beautiful it is, right? And
Right.
the fact that like there's truck art, there's like all this music, that there's like these street food, and there's like music where you can like, you know, tell that it's like part of your culture. Like
Right.
that's like, you know, it's not just Bollywood, it's like Gwali music or, you know, something
Right.
special. These things are like something to take pride in, right? And the
Exactly.
chai is usually amazing. Some people just go there for chai and biscuits and stuff, and like
Oh
some
yeah.
people don't want to go to an Indian restaurant and have a big meal. Sometimes you want to go have chai and just chill. Like forget
Yeah.
Netflix, it's chai and chill. That's the new thing that we got to do.
Chai and chill.
That's our next episode. Chai and chill. So let's wrap it up with final question. There's been a big debate popping up online in our groups about best burger place. So Munib, since you're the expert, what would you say is the best halal burger place in our area, right? I mean, obviously you've had a lot of different burgers all around the country,
Yeah.
in the world. What would you say is the best in our area?
Okay, so in our area, are you including like New York or
Yeah, let's go
Brooklyn?
let's do tri-state. Yeah.
Okay, so BK Johnny is
Yeah.
definitely up there. I think they're solid. I know people say they're overhyped, and people don't like the way they prepare their food because you're not allowed to have it well done, which is something that like our people deal with because when we think of like something that's not medium, it's like we think there's blood in there. That's not blood. That's protein. People don't understand that. I understand it freaks people out a little bit. It's a little mental stuff, but their burgers are solid. There's another place in Montclair. Now it's not a halal place, but they have confirmed that they use halal meat, and they will cook it separately for you, and it's called stuffed. And what they do is they stuff the cheese inside the burgers, and then they have a brisket on top of the burger. So
Oh,
it's a
wow.
brisket, a burger with cheese inside the burger. It's called Stuffed. It's in Montclair. It's amazing. They're not a halal restaurant, but they do have halal meat. So if you ask them to cook it separately, they'll do it for you. But it's so good. Definitely one of the top burgers.
Now, what about dessert, Anib? Like, you're a big foodie, but are you a big dessert guy?
Yeah, man. I am diabetes waiting to happen. I love desserts. I do love desserts too freaking much, man. So I'm a big fan of anything banana related. So Magnolia's banana pudding, big fan. I'm a big fan of donuts. There is a donut in Donut Plant called the banana. It's called the Elvis, I think. It's banana peanut butter. Uh, it's so good. It's so good. It tastes like what I imagine true love feels like. It's just so good. Um, what
Are
else?
you also a Chunky Monkey fan from Ben and
Oh, I
Jerry's?
love Chunky Monkey. Chunky Monkey is one of my favorite ice cream.
Why do people judge us for liking Chunky Monkey?
I don't know.
Actually, that's one of my favorites too.
You do too? I mean,
You know what
there are
has a
people
good-
who like barfed, like looking at me eating Chunky Monkey, like, how can you eat that? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is
It's so good. So there's a place in New York called Morgenstein that has ice cream, and they have this agave banana ice cream. So good. Dominic Enzel, they have the cookie shots where there's like the cup is made out of a cookie. You put milk in it, you eat it. Amazing. So it desserts are good. Levine Bakery with the big giant
Their
cookies.
cookies are
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. Like I can talk about desserts like for hours. Like you guys don't have enough time.
Yeah, so absolutely. So for more on Zabihah and desserts, definitely follow Anib at Zabihah and Zerts on Instagram and on TikTok, which is the new thing you kids are doing. I got to get on that. And so yeah, thanks a lot, Anib, and definitely stay in touch.
We'll
So
be following you for sure.
awesome, man. Yeah, and definitely for those watching, definitely comment below and tell us what you think of the episode, but also your recommendations and your choices as well. So, and we'll be back with another one. Thanks, guys. See ya.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Bye, guys.